If you ever want to see a grown woman standing in her kitchen at 7 inches the morning, staring at a pineapple like it, personally offended her, you should have seen my friend Maya last year. I'm not exaggerating. She was holding that pineapple in one hand and a head of lettuce in the other, looking like she was about to interview both of them for a job position. And at that moment, none of us knew those two random grocery items were about to quietly change her entire routine, her energy, and eventually her body. Now, let me be clear. Maya didn't gain weight because she was constantly overeating. She wasn't hiding snacks under her bed. She wasn't living off junk food. The shift happened slowly and almost invisibly. She works from home, and when I say works from home, I mean she became one with her chair. Wake up, open laptop, sit. Meetings, sit. Emails, sit. Scroll, sit. Break, sit. Somewhere else. Repeat. Days blurred together. The fridge became a place to visit, just to feel like she had moved. At first, nobody noticed anything. She still looked like herself. She still dressed the same. But over time, her jeans got tighter. Her energy dipped. She started saying things like, "Why am I tired for no reason?" The real reason was simple. Movement disappeared from her day. Not because she was lazy, because comfort took over. Then, one random afternoon, she stood up from her desk, walked to the kitchen, and halfway there said, "Why am I breathing like this?" She wasn't sick. She wasn't in pain. She was just shocked that basic movement felt heavier than it used to. That moment didn't turn into a dramatic breakdown. It turned into a grocery trip. She came back with a pineapple and lettuce. That's it. When I asked her what she was planning, she said one word: experiment. If you're watching this thinking, what kind of experiment starts with salad? Stay with me, because this is where it gets interesting. Maya realized something about herself that most people ignore. She wasn't hungry most of the time. She was bored. Working from home erased structure. Walking to the kitchen felt like a break. Opening the fridge felt productive. Snacking felt like activity. So, instead of attacking food, she decided to interrupt boredom. And this part matters, so don't skip it. She didn't say, "I'm dieting." She didn't say, "No more snacks." She said, "Every time I feel like randomly going to the kitchen just to wander, I'm cutting pineapple instead." Now think about that. Pineapple is not convenient. It's not a grab-and-go snack. You have to stand up. You have to slice it. You have to peel it. It demands attention. That process alone forced her to move multiple times a day, forced her to slow down, forced her to be present. Halfway through this story, I want you to ask yourself something. How many times do you eat because you're bored, not because you're hungry? Be honest. That question changed everything for her. Now let's talk about the lettuce. Because lettuce sounds boring. It sounds like something you eat when you're punishing yourself. But Maya didn't treat it like punishment. She treated it like a blank canvas. She started making huge bowls of lettuce with simple things she already liked. Pineapple chunks, a squeeze of lime, cherry tomatoes, sometimes grilled chicken, sometimes avocado. Nothing extreme, but the volume was the trick. She could eat a large bowl, feel completely full, and still feel light. That fullness reduced the urge to grab heavier snacks later out of habit. But here's the part nobody expects. The real change wasn't the pineapple, it wasn't the lettuce, it was the standing. Cutting pineapple meant she wasn't glued to her chair. Washing lettuce meant she was at the sink instead of at her desk. Building those bowls meant she was in the kitchen, using the counter instead of eating mindlessly in front of her laptop. Those tiny movements broke up long hours of sitting. 2 weeks in, something shifted. Not the scale. Her energy. She stopped crashing at 3 p.m. She started pacing during phone calls. She started stepping outside after lunch. She even started taking short walks while listening to podcasts. The woman who used to say, "I'll walk later," was actually walking. If you're still watching right now, it's probably because you're realizing this isn't really about fruit. It's about pattern interruption. Around week 4, her clothes started fitting differently. Not dramatically, just slightly looser. Around week 6, she pulled on her favorite jeans and said, "Wait, why are these comfortable?" There was no suffering, no strict rule book, just replacement habits. And here's the funny part. She started talking to the pineapple. Every morning, she'd hold it up and say, "Okay, let's work." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. That pineapple became a symbol. It represented effort, intention, choice. Let me pause here and say this clearly. She never announced she was trying to lose weight. She never posted transformation quotes. She didn't tell people she was starting over. That removed pressure. No audience, no performance, just quiet change. By month 3, the difference was visible. Her face looked sharper. Her posture improved. She carried herself differently. Someone asked her what program she was on. She said, completely serious, "Pineapple and lettuce." They laughed. She didn't, but here's the deeper layer. Once she realized small swaps worked, she applied that mindset everywhere. Instead of scrolling late at night, she prepped fruit for the next day. Instead of sitting through long meetings motionless, she stood or walked during calls. Instead of eating at her desk, she sat at the table. The structure came back into her life. If this story feels familiar, comment one word: shift. Because that's what this was. Not a diet, not a dramatic transformation, a shift. 6 months later, she wasn't arguing with the pineapple anymore. She was grateful for it. I walked into her kitchen one morning and she was slicing one like it was part of her routine forever. She looked at me and said, "I didn't change everything. I just changed something small." The weight came off steadily. No crash, no rebound, no extreme restriction. And more importantly, she didn't feel like she was fighting herself. She didn't ban her favorite meals. She didn't force workouts she hated. She simply replaced passive habits with active ones. So before you click away, here's the real question. What's your pineapple? What's the small, slightly inconvenient habit that could interrupt your routine in a powerful way? Because sometimes change doesn't start with motivation. Sometimes it starts with a fruit on the counter quietly challenging you to stand up. If this made you rethink your routine, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who believes change has to be dramatic. Sometimes it's not dramatic. Sometimes it's just pineapple. Sometimes it's just lettuce. And sometimes that small shift is enough.